Well, and that's what I was afraid, that I've been afraid has happened.
See, I disagree.
That there were people in the Bush administration who looked at that show and said, this is the way we ought to be doing stuff.
See, I disagree. I think that they had their agenda long before that, and I think they for as an excuse.
Well,
but either, if it was the other way, again, it's not our fault for making the show.
No.
It's our fault for electing people that are going to be affected by a television show while running the most powerful country in the world.
You're garnering your tips from a TV show.
Yeah, and that's
you're
what
in big trouble.
Of course, everything I know I learned from Star Trek.
You too. Me too.
Yeah, moral compass there.
Did you know when you started 24? You must have had some inkling that it could be such a huge success?
Not a clue. I didn't think it would get picked up. In fact, I was doing I was quite naughty actually. I had taken a film when if 24 had been picked up by the network from it, I'm talking like everybody out there knows how our industry works. We make a pilot, and that is an hour representation of what the show could potentially be, and then if the network they pick it up a series. We never thought about it. In the time, in case it had been, we were supposed to start shooting in July, and I had taken a film in that space.
You didn't
because
have
I was
faith
so
in it.
sure. Faith, I was so sure. The real-time aspect, it was so different that and television is kind of a very constant barometer, and I just didn't think that they would take a chance on it. And I also wasn't watching a lot of television at the time, and when I took a look, finally started watching shows like The Sopranos, Sex and the City, West Wing.
Mm-hmm.
Television had changed dramatically, so of course it was much more in line with what was happening, and I was wrong, and we started 2 months late, and I got in a lot of trouble.
The only thing I want to see on 24, if it's 24 hours in a day, I would just like to see you take a quick bathroom break once.
Well, I do take a bathroom break, and it's when they cut to the president.
I know,
I've tried
but
to
I
explain
want
that
to
to you
one
guys,
time
and
have Jack Bauer go, give me just 2 minutes.
Well, I did it once as a joke. We were doing a scene, and I was running into a building, and there was a restroom right there, and I ran in, and I came running back. And John,
I want that in the show.
And John Casares, the director, said, I'm going to put the president's stuff in between that, and so we'll see you go in and see you come out. Creator of the show, Joel Surnow, just like you were saying, you tried to explain it to everybody. He is so that it will never, ever happen.
Yeah.
Just once.
Yeah.
People
I'd like to
love
see
it.
him eat.
Eat.
Yeah.
Eat would be cool. There was one scene that I did, and again, Joel made me shoot it over again because this argument is his. But there was one scene, again, walking down the street, and I bought a hot dog while I'm doing the scene with the other girl and ate it.
I love it.
I remember that. And I thought, there you go.
And yeah, he cut most of that out too.
Oh.
Is it my imagination, or has Chloe been getting sexier as the show has progressed?
She's been getting sexier.
Yeah. I saw a picture of her in
coming into herself.
Entertainment Weekly. She looks really hot. And if you go to her website, and I don't know what possessed me to do this at one point, I heard her interviewed.
Because you're oddly attracted to her?
There are some pictures of her on her own website in like underwear and stuff.
Really?
There was at the time, yeah.
Well, she's one of the funniest.
bustiers
She's one of the greatest comedians I've ever seen.
She was really. I forget where I heard her interviewed. Maybe it was Chelsea Handler or something.
And she does these. And this is, I commend her because I think it takes an unbelievable amount of courage. But she will go in. She has different characters that she'll do interviews in. Mm-hmm. She doesn't warn the person that's interviewing her. And so sometimes she'll say something very spacey or very daft. And the poor interviewer is looking at her like, are you serious? And she will not break. And she will do the whole I've done panels with her where she's freaked me out. Like, I'm not a part of this. But she's one of the funniest comedians I've ever met.
What?
Well,
anyway.
we're going to take a break, and then we'll talk about your adventures in real life.
Great.
And here's a text here. Will you please tell Kiefer that I love him, and please kill Tony again?
I love you back, and I do it every time I see him.
All right. 9:23 right now.
It's Radio from Hell with Carrie and Bill and Gina.
X96. See, Kiefer Sutherland is here in the studio with us at
And he's
9:28.
sponsored.
He's brought to you by.
Is he now?
Sorry,
Yes.
we have sponsors.
He's not approved these,
Well, let's see how he feels about this one.
Well, it's by you, Bill, actually. Join X96's Bill Allred this Tuesday from 1 to 3 p.m. at the BMW Motorcycle of Salt Lake. 215 North Redwood Road in North Salt Lake and support the Drive Aware campaign in an effort to increase motorcycle safety awareness.
I'll be there with our very own Governor Jim Huntsman.
It's John. Quit saying
Oh,
that.
that's right, John Huntsman. I'm sorry.
Just got a text from my wife saying, Kiefer is so nice and cute, he might be my new crush. So take that, Christian Bale.
You are.
Well, thank you.
Here, meeting you in person, an exceptionally
And on purpose.
By the way, we should say Kiefer is in town promoting a band that he has on his record label, Ironworks Records, and the band is Billy Boy on Poison. And are they going to be? Do we know they have a tour schedule? Will they be coming to town?
They do. They've been on tour in England, and they've been booked for a few festivals. They've been opening up for Stone Temple Pilots over the last 6 months. Again, they're just getting back from England, I think, later this week. And yes, they're definitely going to be coming through Salt Lake City within the next few months.
So we meet you in person, and you are exceptionally well spoken.
Oh, thank you.
Exceptionally.
That means a lot coming from Bill.
Exceptionally polite, nice, cordial guy.
That's a terrible Canadian proclivity as well.
Yep.
And yet you have some kind of a reputation as being like a guy who likes to mix it up and being a lout sometimes.
I like people, and I go out, and I don't really know what to say about that. But yes,
I am allowed.
I've certainly had some fun in my life, and I think part of the problem, because obviously things get exaggerated and they get blown out of proportion and everything else. I've never walked into a bar that was empty, so I was never alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's things get blown out of proportion, and I've also never denied it. And so I've never tried to control that I think one of the nice things for me as a young actor growing up was, having spent some time with my dad at that point, I got to learn a lot about what not to fight over and what not to kind of try and resist. And I've watched a lot of other young actors who weren't prepared for what was coming their way. If we were all lucky enough to even have a job.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus has always tried to be on the work, and the other stuff you just have to let go.
It's kind of hard, I guess, it must be kind of hard to have a certain level of celebrity, and you've really achieved a great interest in you and your career because of 24.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really go anywhere. I mean, here you are in this studio talking to us on the radio, and you got somebody filming you, and you've got somebody shooting photos of you all the time. We have that on a tiny scale here in town.
Uh-huh.
And I don't ever find it a problem, but it's with you, somebody of your stature in that hierarchy, it's magnified so much. That must be pretty difficult to do sometimes.
But no different than you. I mean, you have that issue in this city, and I have it
everywhere.
Everywhere. But I also made that choice. It's something if I don't want to go out, if I really want to have my privacy, I can stay home. I can invite my friends over to my house if any of them could drive.
Legally,
but I can get them there on a bicycle or send a car. We make our choices, and I certainly know that all the ramifications of going out and what that can potentially be.
Yeah.
And I made that choice. The problem that I have is I was at the Tabernacle last night. I had a great time. And people were awesome, and the music was fun, and people had a good time, and so I have a hard time kind of making apologies for it.
You shouldn't.
And
bless your heart.
You shouldn't apologize.
I wasn't looking for an apology.
Well, good, because it ain't coming.
But it is kind of you meet somebody and you have a perception just from. And you should know it's what you gather from the media is not the reality. Is not the reality. So you meet Kiefer Sutherland and you say, God, what a charming guy.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah, what a nice guy.
So you thought I'd be laying here on the floor.
Well, no.
Sucking down
we didn't
some
think
yogurt.
You'd show up. We didn't think you'd show up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, that was my prediction.
Really?
It was just like, it's too good to be true. Surely.
Oh,
that kind of thing happens all the time. And
well, you can tell your wife you're my new crush.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Hear that, hon?
See, we're just a
I'll
little.
be paying for that later.
We're just a little Salt Lake radio station. We get stiffed by celebrities all the time.